How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be talking about episode 2 of Junji Ito Maniac. This one's entitled The Story of the Mysterious Tunnel and the Ice Cream Bus. And this is based on 2 stories by Junji Ito that sadly I don't think are officially available in the US anywhere. Fingers crossed, Viz is working on trying to put out Junji Ito's old stuff. There is a big back catalog they need to publish, so hopefully we'll get to some of these stories soon. But anyway, a quick flashback. I mentioned in my review for episode 1 that I thought episode 1 was a good, funny, horror sitcom story. But that being said, a horror sitcom is not necessarily what everyone is looking forward to in a Junji Ito show. They want to see dark, disturbing, messed up horror. So while I did like episode 1, I know it's not for everybody. And I have to say, jumping into episode 2, some good hardcore horror is here. And 2 vastly different concepts. So overall, I really did like it. I won't spoil the endings here, but both of the endings had me going, whoa, that's messed up. And plus, because I wasn't able to read the comics beforehand, I had no idea what was coming, and yeah, messed up Junji Ito stuff. Not necessarily, not necessarily the eyeball scene from Uzumaki, but still messed up and memorable. And yeah, 2 stories. Like I said, I wasn't a fan in Collection when they split up so many episodes. Well, they split up all the episodes in Collection into 2 stories, and a lot of them felt rushed. This one worked, though. You see, doing a story, the story takes as long as the story needs, and it doesn't necessarily always fit into the time blocks. So, selecting the right stories that are good for half episodes and not trying to force a longer story into a half episode, it's all about choice and what the story needs. But I think what saved it here is this is asymmetrical, which I thought was brilliant. Basically, they didn't divide this episode into perfect halves. Story 1 is longer than story 2, and it's roughly 2/3, 1/3. And when you look at these stories, story 1 is longer than halfway, but stretching it to a full episode, that'd be too far. Compressing it to a half episode, that'd feel compressed. 2/3-ish of an episode, that's all the time it needs. And then what do you pair it with? You pair it with one of Junji Ito's quicker feeling stories. A story that's in, out, fun concept, crazy twist. The Ice Cream Bus really did feel like a story that only needed about 1/3 of an episode to tell. Overall, I say great pairing and time management. Asymmetrical story divisions, I think is really cool. But overall, better horror this time around. Crazy messed up ideas, good pacing, and also the themes of these 2 episodes, very fun, very cool. I'm going to go ahead and talk a bit about the episodes. I'm not going to be doing any major spoilers, but I do want to analyze them a little bit and talk about a few of the plot points, but I won't give away those crazy messed up endings or anything like that. Anyway, the first one, the story of the mysterious tunnel. You get a bunch of young, early high school kids, I would guess, or whatever the Japanese equivalent is, and they dare each other to go into this spooky abandoned train tunnel. However, this spooky abandoned train tunnel is where this main character's kid, mother, just disappeared when he was a lot younger. We get some creepy flashback surreal sequences to when he was a kid and the mother wandering into the tunnel and never coming back. Well, that's spooky. They go into the tunnel and they see someone, and that's going to cause all his friends to run away. But he doesn't run away because he recognizes who he sees ahead. His younger sister. She doesn't know how she got there. She comes home and she's feeling sick. Why was she compelled to go to the tunnel, and why doesn't she remember it? Well, that night, there's a snowstorm, and in the morning, she's missing. The father goes after her, and he never comes back either. So now he has to go to the mysterious tunnel. That's really cool, but there's also a bit of a sci-fi element. There's some scientists there studying the tunnel, and it has special properties, but the scientists do not even begin to know just how creepy and messed up those special properties are. And this was one I really did find was interesting. It has a lot of stuff I really like, even though the first two things aren't really what the episode's about. I love the snowy setting. It's not really too big a snow horror movie, but the idea that, oh man, my sister's running around and she could be freezing to death, and the cool snow sweeping over the city, and the main character's got his scarf on. I like snow. I also like trains, and okay, you only see a train once in this story, it's just a train tunnel, but train tunnels are cool too, especially this one with a little secret somewhere in the middle. That's pretty fun. But also, with the scientists studying it, sci-fi. You know, I feel that sci-fi horror gets kind of underrated, but sci-fi horror, where you say the horror is based in some sort of real-world science, lending it some sort of credibility, but also science horror, understanding just how big and unfathomable our world is. You really get, you know, like say with Black Mirror, there's so many sci-fi concepts in there that lead to characters being ultimately screwed. And with this one, again, I won't spoil what happens, but when you see why people are disappearing, you really start to wonder, oh man, what does that mean for the victims? And it's this really scary visual, and it happens really fast. You don't see it necessarily coming at first, but then when the danger's on you, it's like, oh no, I gotta get out of there. And of course, interesting visuals, right? So overall, I had a lot of fun with this. I think with Netflix and Stranger Things and stuff, and, you know, like I said, some of Black Mirror, this is probably going to be one that a Netflix crowd is really interested in. So overall, a good story. The one after that, The Ice Cream Bus, which I had seen the title of this episode translated often as Ice Cream Truck. You know, like I said in my manga guide review, which I mistakenly referred to it as truck, in my manga guide review, I said that you have the original titles in Japanese, and translation doesn't always line up directly, and a translator seeing that title, yeah, you would say Ice Cream Truck, because that would make the most sense, but no, this is Ice Cream Bus, because the kids go on it and go on trips. This is Ice Cream Bus. Yeah, it makes sense. But anyway, with this story, you get a single father, and he moves into this new town with his kid, and he sees this new town has a very strange attraction. There's this guy with an ice cream bus, and he, once a week, goes around and takes the kids on a little tour of the city and gives them ice cream. It's a fun thing to do that, if we weren't in a horror story, would be for the betterment of the community. But we know we're in a horror story, right? But anyway, at first he doesn't let his kid go. His kid's upset. And he says, I want ice cream, your food sucks. And I do like this bit where the adult goes, my food doesn't suck. And he kind of goes, yummy. And the kid thinks he's just mocking him and just lashes out. I have to say, I really do like this character. a single father who wants to do the best by his kid and wants to give his kid a good life, and you can see him honestly trying the whole time and going, I'm new to town. An ice cream bus, huh? And, being a concerned single father, but the kid wants to go out and have fun. He eventually does let the kid go on an ice cream bus adventure, and the kid comes home, he's all happy, telling all these stories, and he has friends come over, and overall, he really did like the ice cream bus, and also, he's not talking about wanting to go stay with his mom anymore, which means the dad's like, okay, he likes it here. That's good. But it doesn't quite add up. Why is this random stranger taking the kid on an ice cream bus? The guy himself looks really weird. He's a thin, pale guy with a little ice cream guy hat on, and his bus, bright pink, a really weird color, with these eyes on the headlights, but the eyes look more like symbols than anything, and it's a really weird bus. And also, he's doing tours of the city, but there aren't really that many windows on the bus. And the kid tells a story like, oh yeah, they had a big pile of strawberry ice cream in the floor, just sitting there in a big pile, and we all licked on it. That is both weird and unsanitary, and you have to kind of wonder, what the heck is this guy up to? And again, I won't spoil it, but it does end on a disturbing Junji Ito image, and we get the image, we're like, oh, that's bad. Little cherry on top, let's just say. One additional push that just makes you go, oh, that's messed up. Why in the world would the ice cream man be doing this? What on earth? And I really did like it. And I feel that this kind of has that retro throwback feel to it. Even though it doesn't explicitly say this story is set in the 80s, it really does feel like an 80s style story. Back then, the world was more trusting. We put the kids on the ice cream bus and they just had a fun adventure. And nowadays, we're all too worried about what strangers would do and leaving our kids alone and stuff. So overall, I do get that concept, but also the idea of creepy yet, happy, meant for kids stuff. Think Five Nights at Freddy's or Candle Cove. This idea of retro kid stuff being creepy is something that plays well nowadays, and I can totally see why Netflix chose this episode. And yeah, that little ice cream bus song going off in your head. The ice cream bus is a fun and happy thing meant for kids, but it's gonna go horribly. So overall, I really did like this. It was, a nice, sweet, in-out 5-minute adventure or so, 5 or so minutes, and you really just get a good messed up story there. And overall, I thought this was better. Again, I'm more a horror geek than a comedy geek, so leaning harder into the horror, going in two very different directions, but still winding up in that messed up, crazy Junji Ito place. That was cool. And next time, we're gonna be next time I cover the show, that should be 1-3, the Hanging Blimp episode. I cannot wait for the Hanging Blimp episode. That is one of Ito's best stories, and I really am glad it's getting adapted. Full episode for that one. I really hope it comes out good. Speaking of hanging blimps, did you guys notice in the ice cream bus story, the singer from Hanging Blimps is on the news? I thought it was fun. The stories are a little bit connected. Fun Easter egg. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. This should be my Junji Ito playlist. I've talked about a lot of the books. I did unboxings for the Uzumaki Pocket Curse, and you can also find, for this show, my manga guide and a review for episode 1. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.